Hello again, guys, it is I, Freeze700. We are back with some Kingdom Under Fire lore. This time, the humans. What are they? Well, the humans are pretty average. They're just humans. That's it. That's all they are. They're average in every way, shape, and form. They are able to do just about anything if they set their minds to it. And some of the greatest beings in the universe were humans. But that's not saying that they're the best at everything. In order for them to be the best at something, they have to dedicate themselves a lot harder than other species. Like an elf is already magically prowess, and is super fast and really good with a bow. A human, the best mage in the Kingdom Under Fire universe is Moonlight, and he's a human. It's just, he's an old man. He had to take pretty much his whole life to dedicate to that. Whereas elf could probably just spend 50 years and boom, she'd be at that level. Then there's also strength. Humans are average strength. They're stronger than an elf, but they're not as strong as an orc. But at the same time, the strongest being that's ever existed in the universe is Rick Blood, also known as Rainier. Again, a human. So humans are very versatile, they're very adaptable, but their biggest drive that you may think, well, what is it that's causing them to survive against orcs, dark elves, ogres, monsters? What is the drive that makes them survive this? Well, it's two things. It's actually their technology and their teamwork. So the other factions don't really have a lot of technology. They don't really believe in it. They believe more in their natural prowess and just using the resources they have at their disposal. Humans, on the other hand, would actually develop time to study technologies like ballistas, catapults, doing bomber wings, mortars. The other factions don't believe in this. But the humans have no problem doing studies and science. The only issue is that they have a religion that kind of keeps them held back to some small degree. The biggest thing, though, and arguably this is the most important thing, is teamwork. The ogres and the orcs and the dark elves, they do have some teamwork, but it's not to the extent of a human. Dark elves believe more in their natural superiority, so when another dark elf helps them, they immediately snap back and go, "Bitch, I didn't need your help, I had it," even if they were totally fucked. Orcs, on the other hand, they do have some teamwork because they're sappers and that requires a bit of teamwork, but the issue is that they're a little too stupid to kind of think in their head, oh shit, this guy next to me is having a hard time because he's got 2 knights on his ass, maybe I should go help him and take one of the knights down. No, they're a little slower. So this is where humans are actually perfect. They're versatile enough, and they have a little bit of technology to help them through, and they're willing to work together without having to say a word, without having to go, hey, dumbass, I'm kind of outnumbered here. But besides that, that's pretty much how the humans work. That's what the humans are. Now, how are the humans the evilest faction in the game and in the universe? Well, this is a long list. This is a very long list. Now, humans in medieval times have been known to be very cruel, very interesting with their mob mentality. Like, we have many excerpts in our own history, in real-time history, about ripping women's breasts who are accused of witchcraft, which obviously witchcraft's not a real thing. And then we have many other instances of people rallying behind a priest and just burning a village down for no fucking reason other than they think that those people with a different religion are evil, blah, blah, blah. So, taking that into account and the fact that Kingdom Under Fire is a little realistic, and it's set in a medieval time period, there is bound to be a lot of cruelty. Well, thankfully we know a lot of excerpts of their cruelty. So let's get down to it. The biggest thing that I think is noted to be cruel, and it's said a lot of times over and over again, so just about every Kingdom Under Fire fan knows it, is that the humans are the only species in all of Bergia to actually kill women and children. Now this may sound weird. You may think, what? Humans are creatures of light, creatures of Nibel. So how are they somehow eviler than creatures of the dark dimension? Well, creatures of the dark dimension just so happen to spare people, but they will enslave them. So the orcs, the ogres, the dark elves, the vampires, they will enslave you instead of kill you if you're defenseless. Whereas humans, on the other hand, we're a little bit more genocidal. We're a little bit more aggravated, more furious, more zealous. So when it comes to like seeing an orc village like Posteris Green, Gerald had no problem massacring all the women and children in that camp. Walter, the leader of the Patriarchal Guard, he had no problem massacring a village of humans just to hide his shitty deeds, to make sure that no one knew that Ecclesia was working with Dark Elves. So there are many times where humans are genocidal. They will full on kill women and children. Now, what about the times that they do take prisoners? Because there are times where they do take them. Do they enslave them? Sometimes. So we learn a little bit of this about how humans treat their slaves and the way the dark elves and the orcs treat their slaves. So let's get this down right now. In Lionheart's campaign, you see that even though they capture a traitorous dark elf, this is a traitor. This guy has committed every crime in Veland. And even then, even though he's led a huge rebellion that actually fucked over Lord Voldemort's annexation of Hexter, even though he directly attacked Prince Lionheart, part of the royal blood of Velen, even though he did this, the way he was treated was that of royalty. He was treated with respect. He wasn't really restrained. He was just given food, water, and good food and water, not just run-of-the-mill slop. And he was talked to like as if he was an equal. Now, take that in contrast to the humans. Lionheart's a half vampire, and he's surrounded by liches, orcs, and stuff like that. Take that in contrast to a human who captures a dark elf. A human will capture a dark elf who's just a normal soldier. They will beat the shit out of you. They will break all of your teeth and your jaw just to get you to talk. They don't even care if you talk, honestly. They just want to beat the fuck out of you. And you're defenseless, you're helpless, you're just a troop following orders. They will beat the fuck out of you. They will also rape you. And then, to make it even better, they will saw your head off. Now, when I say saw your head off, I mean just cut it off. Whether they use the saw or not, I probably would bet that they would use the saw, just because it's crueler. Now, when they cut off your head in medieval times, it wasn't a direct science. So that means that if they chopped your head, and it turns out all they did was hit your spinal cord, they wouldn't cut through that. So that means they'd have to go a little few inches down and try again. So that means you're sitting there getting constantly hacked at in the back of your neck till these fuckers get it right. And you're lucky. You were super lucky if they actually get it on the first swing. But that just kind of puts it in your mind how painful this would be. And then, once you're dead, they don't really bury your corpse in a ceremonial way. The Velon, they will bury your corpse, at least they'll bury it. They may not give you the proper funeral rites and everything like that, but that's because they don't really care. But the humans, on the other hand, will just put your corpse right on a flagpole, display your body to the world. They don't give a fuck. So yeah, cruelty is definitely up there with the humans, whereas Velond and Hexter, they really don't have that cruelty in them. They may make you a slave and they may work you hard, but they would never just kill your women and children or torture you. Like, that's just not their way. At the same time, though, what if you're not a prisoner of war? What if you're not a soldier? What if you're just an orc who just got captured? What if you're just some normal dude who was just found and you were just taken in and put into chains? What happens then? Well, the humans don't really care about feeding you good, so they'll just feed you whatever slop that they can find, because again, they're a little racist and they're a little bigoted. But also, to make it worse, they do have certain circuses in town. So in Heronodon is viewed as like the people's country. They're all about countrymen, camaraderie. They don't care what race you are as long as you're willing to help them. But they are a little bigoted, very bigoted towards like orcs and dark elves. Well, they have a fair, a circus, that comes around once a year. And in the circus, what they do is they have certain games and events, you know, festivities. It's fun. It's time to go and be alive. It brings back your childhood, you know. You have clowns doing their juggling, then you have archers displaying their skill, and then you have a bunch of kids shooting real bows and arrows into a tied up orc who is completely innocent of any crime, but he's just guilty of being an orc. You know, it's fun times. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. I'm not joking. They actually talk about this, about how excited they are to go to the circus because of the new wave of prisoners who would be kind of tied up. It's essentially like a spin-off of the game where like you grab an apple or a pie and you throw it at a clown trying to like dunk him in a tank. Kind of like that, but instead it's just an orc standing there and you just have kids shooting real arrows into his body because an orc can take a lot more punishment than a human. So you'd have an orc porcupine, basically, of just kids constantly shooting him, hearing him squeal in pain, and they're just laughing, going, yay! Ooh, yeah, you got him in the nuts. Yeah, look at that screaming. Woohoo! That's exactly the humans' motto. So when it comes to human cruelty, it's definitely up there. Like, whenever there's a plague going around, humans will massacre some of the people who are infected. And there's very rarely any time that they'll ever actually cure you of the plague. Like in Kingdom Under Fire 2, there's a village that gets hit with a nasty, nasty plague. And the Azilians were kind of curious. They're like, do we want to help them? Is there a way to help them? The Ecclesians and the Heronidans were like, no, just burn everything fucking down. And of course, there's a quest line where you could save this man's daughter. But it's a very long quest line. And the priest is sympathetic to your cause. But they always say, you know, you're just better off killing her. Just better off doing it. So I think that's very interesting in the sense that the Kingdom Under Fire series, it may not be perfect, but they did capture how Veland and Hexter, even though they're barbaric, even though they're somewhat evil in their deeds, because they'll, you know, take over the world just so that way they could spread their dread and their slavery and stuff, they're not evil, though, when they do it. Whereas humans, if they had it their way, it would be very evil. It would be very dark. They would just be massacring innocents for no reason. Just because they're orcs, just because they're dark elves. So it's very interesting that they actually put this in the universe. Besides that, this has been Freezer 700. I'm out. I hope you guys learned something. Maybe you guys can look at this and go, wow, I didn't realize General Gerald was a total piece of shit. But yeah, this is the shit that would happen on a day-to-day basis. Besides that, this has been Freezer 700. I'm out. See you next time.